Welcome to day two of the Centre Court Specialised Masters Festival with Poets and Quants. We've been thinking that data now shapes pretty much every aspect of the business world across all sector. Data informs decision making, business analytics skills are in high demand. That's today, and that's going to be tomorrow too. And at USC Moore, you'll get hands-on experiential learning both in and outside the classroom. It's a one-year STEM designated MSBA program. And to find out more, I'm delighted to welcome Deandra Black. Deandra is Director of Recruitment at USC Moore and a class of 2025 MSBA star, Hannah Kubalova. Hannah did her undergrad in marketing at Wingate with a near perfect GPA. I figure there was one course, maybe, that it was that good. Has done some really interesting internships working for a global digital sports platform, Fanatics. Thank you, both of us, for being with us. Perhaps, Deandra, before we jump into the MSBA program, USC Moore, it's always ranked number one for international business. Now you've got this stellar MSBA program, but tell us about the school and what you love about it.
Absolutely. So the Moore School, probably what you already know, I love the diversity and not just about merely where people come from or the color of their skin. I love the diverse backgrounds, the cultures. I get to meet and talk to people from all over the world. I mean, it is dynamic. Every day walking down the halls, you just literally never know who you might come into contact with it more. And that is electrifying. So, and I think it makes for a really unique conversation. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I know someone from the Czech Republic. Now, for the
Yeah.
MSBA, who is this program suited for? Because often people are like, oh, I need Python, I need SQL and R. Typically, what kind of backgrounds, analytical mindsets, and diversity are you looking for?
Absolutely. All types. Seriously, when I say all types, that's what I mean. When it comes down to analytics, someone or it, all types of business decisions are made in every industry that you could think of. So technical, government. I'm even seeing more so of those who are coming from their own type of personal businesses saying, you know what, I really need to dig into this data thing and find out how can I better service my consumer or how can I better target this type of client. So people from all different types of backgrounds, any industry really, wherever data decision making is needed. So yeah.
Hmm. Well, just before we find out Hannah's story, one last question. In terms of, is there a right time for the MSBA? It can be early career, as you're thinking about next steps professionally, but also a mid-career transition. Is that part of the diversity in the classroom?
Most definitely. So it's suited for those who are already in industry, who are looking to build on what they've gained and what they have already learned, or potentially looking to advance careers. And it's also built for those who are early, who are just about to graduate. Someone who's saying, you know what, I wouldn't mind spending one more year to go ahead and be more attractive to the job market when they leave. So yeah.
Well, Hannah, what led you to after a wonderful academic track record at undergrad to then think, right, now the business analytics piece. Why did you choose the MSBA?
So my story is that I did marketing in my undergrad, and I realized that strictly marketing is not really the path which I want to go. And I did my internship after my junior year, and I was with a big company, a corporate company, and it opened my eyes being like, what the world out there really needs and what am I good at. And I loved business statistics in my undergrad, and I was like, all right, I can pick up on this. So I looked around, and the analytics program at USC is just it has such a variety. It's not strictly computer science or strictly Python coding. It has such a variety of all the coding languages and from SQL and R that was like, this is something I can do, even though I had almost no experience. And that's what I love about the program, that like it starts, even if you don't know anything, if you don't have any kind of history in something, it helps you to build up on it. It's not like they throw you out there being like, oh, figure it out. No, not at all. So yeah.
Well, to tell us a little bit about the program, both some of the core courses, but perhaps also how you can then personalize it based on your own passions and interests and the career path that you'd like to follow.
Yes. So you have some core classes which everyone has to take, so they make sure that you get the base. So for example, we have a class which is in Python. We have a class which is in R or SQL. And then I'm coming from a marketing background, and I knew that probably like big data right away is not the right course for me to take first semester. So I chose an elective which is from the marketing department. So let's say I'm doing right now pricing analyst, which is still on the data analytical side, but it's something which I want to pursue and I was interested in, and I had some background in that, so that's how I chose it. But there's so many. There's from supply chain, marketing, management. There was a big variety for the electives to choose from.
Right. One of our sincere hopes, Hannah, with Centre Court is that we can open the eyes of everybody to so many different graduate management study options. Now, did you code before you joined the MSBA?
I have to be honest, I did have like a class 101 when it comes to Python, but that was 2 years ago. So I had something, but it wasn't that I was coming in being like, I know how to code. No, that it I had to pick up on it. It was a challenge, but as I said, the classes are structured the way that you can quickly pick up on it. It's not they're just gonna throw you out there and be like, oh, be genius. No, the first class and everything is like, all right, this is how it is. Yes, it might have been a little bit more of a challenge, but like I'm always up for a challenge. Yes.
And a favorite class so far? Well, perhaps not just a favorite class, but beyond all of the sort of analytics and technical learning, what would you say that you're also gaining at a more personal level in terms of perhaps self-confidence, a sense of purpose and direction? Are the things that you've already observed in yourself?
Yeah, so definitely getting out of my comfort zone. That's one thing which I would say that it gives you such a variety of classes. And it's some people might think that business analytics is only like behind the computer and you just type the whole day. That's not even the case in the classes. Like you have to speak up, you have to do presentations, work in teams. There's always something which you would probably not normally do, which you're put out there to just try. And that might work out for you, might not, but that's why you're in the classroom to try it out. And like for example, right now we have a class which is project management, so that's completely different. There's, of course, you're using the skills you have like SQL or Power BI, but it's more of a teamwork and how it's structured, and it's giving the real life experience in the classroom.
Now, this must be something, Deandra, that you see. You meet the candidates in the application stage and then welcome them on the first day. And
Yeah.
then a year later, can you really see the difference between, that the individual that arrives on day one and when they're graduating from more a year later?
It's amazing. And I tell people it's only a year, so the program goes so fast. When they come into the program, they're usually this timid, more shy type of group. And I'm like, come out of your shell, come out of your shell. And just to see them grow in the cohort, because the cohort is going to be relatively small, which is another benefit of our program. I mean, when they start getting midway through to the program, you could just see all of the stressors kind of coming off like, okay, I can do this. I can tackle this. The professors are very approachable and it's not so tough to just really dive into this thing. And so I just love seeing the progression. It's always awesome.
Right. And I was mentioning at the beginning that experiential piece, both in and outside of the classroom, maybe you pick up on that in some of the projects, but in designing a curriculum, is that to make sure that all the theory and skills they're learning then has that practical application?
Absolutely. We want them to be able to not, we want our students to go beyond the classroom. I mean, that's what it's about. They have to be able to maneuver and really dig into environments when they leave us. It's not always just sitting in front of this fabulous Professor Joel who answers all of my questions all of the time. No, it's not going to be that way. And you're going to have these clients. Things may be demanding. We want them to be adaptable. And so that is what those types of projects do for sure.
Right. And there's like capstones, perhaps consulting projects that are embedded in the program because you fit a lot in 1 year.
Absolutely. Hannah, you probably have better insight on that than me for sure.
Yeah, so we have right now, as I said, I have the project management class, and that is kind of starting us off for our practicum in the spring when we're actually going to be working in teams and groups with companies which are out there, and they're looking for real life applications and real life problems we're going to be dealing with actual companies. They're not just a case study in the classroom. Those are actual people, actual statistics, actual data we're going to be working with. So very looking forward for that.
I can imagine. Now, real life companies, real live executives, and it's not that they have a lack of data, Hannah, right? But is part of it then being able in the analysis to almost tell the underlying stories and build a bridge between data and the impact that might have or the decisions that they're looking to make?
Yeah, it's a whole process. So like they have the data, but then you have to clean the data because some of them they just have bunch of data and it's out there and it's like what to do with it. So that's when we come in and clean the data first. That's a huge process. But then to figure out how to present it, because we might know how to what to do, but to put our applications and what we're going through to just present it and visualization and storytelling, as you exactly said. So not to just able to deal with the data, but also to present it and know what the data does and how to make it work and just apply it all together.
And have you been in that situation telling those stories and a face lights up? It's like, got it. I can actually see what this reveals or what this means.
Oh, yes, yes. Almost every class, you're looking at just data and graphs and you're like, what is going on? And next thing you know, you're like, hold on, this is so useful and I love this. And this might actually change the whole situation. Like we're going different direction once you understand and know what to do. Yes.
Right. Now, Deandra, we were saying that the MSB grads are more highly sought after. There's an uptick in terms of financial rewards compared to coming out of undergrad. What are some of the different career options? Because you were saying it applies across all industries. So where are the more graduates heading?
Absolutely. So I see more graduates going towards the marketing type of analyst roles, financial analysts. Finance has been a big one. That has been on the uptick, but sort of like I said, every industry, tech is one of those things that's extremely growing because, of course, now you have all of this AI that's creeping into the curriculum, and we're organizations are starting all of these departments and just research around how AI and business analytics delve together. So all industries, I have to say it again, all industries really.
Yeah. And how do you then make sure? 'Cause, I mean, you mentioned AI. When we started Center Court 7, 8 years ago, I don't think that with John we were talking about AI. How do you make sure that both the curriculum, the experiential learning experiences reflect this, fast evolving, sort of future looking technological scene?
Absolutely. So our professors, our deans, our department heads, they are constantly traveling to conferences. They're constantly doing research, getting updated data about what is going on in real time. And sometimes we have to move and shake. Matt, we have to change with the times. And that is what we are known for. If the curriculum, or I'm sorry, not the curriculum, but if the time is calling for something different, then we have got to ensure that our students are knowledgeable and that they can keep up with that. So we're always at the round tables for sure.
Yeah. Now, I'm sure employers say, hey, your USC graduates, they're super smart. Hannah's a great example looking at her GPA.
Yeah.
Is there other feedback that they give you, other qualities that they see in more graduates, adaptability and, just fitting in, the teamwork that Hannah was mentioning?
Definitely. It's the personality. It's the Columbia, South Carolina Gamecocks, more school. We're small, we're family, we are diverse, and we don't mind. We know that in order for you to move along in the business world, in the data analytics world, you've got to be adaptable to all types of people, all types of situations. So not just a brain. 4.0s are great. We love them. We love everybody to make all A's, but can you really get in front of a client and do a presentation and talk to them and get to know them and then tell their story. That is what our organizations call us for when they look for our grads, for sure.
Yeah. Hannah, you'd had a very informative internship that sort of, made you think about the career path that you wanted to take. Interested to know if you have that worked out already, but how have you then worked with the Career Management Center to think through some of the different career choices? Because you're going to have lots of opportunities.
So I kind of realized that I want to work with people, and that's like that I just don't want to be the person behind a computer and having data and code. I love to understand the code and create the code, but I know that I need a in-person kind of a vibe in my life. And that's when I sat down and was like, okay, I have my marketing undergrad, great knowledge. I don't want to just throw that away, being like that. That never happened. No. So that's when I was like, all right, so what can I do to build up on my marketing, but apply the business analytics? And that's when it all came together that like marketing analytics and taking all the electives, which USC has to offer for us in the marketing department or that kind of way. So of course I'm having the pricing. There was the big marketing project, which is actually for consulting work. So am I looking into the consulting sphere there? So there's so many options, and I cannot say that I'm still like, oh, I want to do this role and this. This is why I'm in the program, because you can always, there's so many ways you can go with this, and it doesn't just put you in one box. That even though I know that the marketing is the way I want to go, it still opens another set of doors for me.
Yeah. And with the close-knit community that Deandra was describing, alum from the program that, perhaps 3, 5 years out, are you able to interact with them and get their feedback on different career options and industries?
Yeah, actually, yesterday I met with a person who was an alumni from 2022. So a few years back, and I talked to her being like, what do you like about the program? Or like, what would you say that was like the point or highlight of the whole program for you? And she exactly said that it goes about what the real world and what the companies need. That the program just supports you and makes sure that when you're getting out there, you are prepared. Yeah.
Right. Now that alumni network, Deandra, a great feature of the school. Understandable that any of the students would think about that first position coming out of the MSBA program, but presumably you're also preparing them not just for job one, but the next 5, 10, 20 years and the stepping stones. Is that the approach that you take to career management?
Absolutely. So we want longevity. That's what we want in our degree programs. That's what we want to be able to support our students with. We don't want, of course, we're heavy on the career side. We want to ensure that our graduates are not just saying, "Hey, I got an MSBA degree. Now I'm going to go back home to mom." That's not what we want them to do. We want them to go into career, but we also want to provide them with a degree that's going to support their growth. So that's extremely important for us, for sure.
You're talking about a good vibe, Hannah, and I'm sure the classes keep you incredibly busy, but balancing both all the studies and having fun too. Tell us a little bit about, campus life and just being a great part of the world and what that brings to the experience.
So I'm personally coming from a smaller undergrad school, so it was a big difference for me to see this, but that was what I was seeking also, to like change and see the perspective of a bigger school. So I love the school, Darla Moore. There's always something going on there, from networking and everything when it comes to the grad students. Almost every single day there is something going on. But then it comes to, of course, Gamecocks. So all the games, football games, love it. And then of course I have a classmate who she is a volleyball player also. So we always come to support her as well. So yeah, there's always something going on, from networking to just having fun and watching all the sports.
Right. And of course they fall in love with the town, Deandra, and they can stay, right? It's a STEM designated program. So and with OVFT that they can stay for up to 3 years, I guess, based on the program and the visas. That must make a difference.
Absolutely. That 3 years, that OPT, it really gives them the opportunity to sort of settle in a little bit, settle in and try to see really what that next step in life for them is going to look like. So stick around, grow within, the US and just sort of determine what's next. It gives you that sort of calm down period to say, let me just see.
Mm. Finding your passion, to wake up and really look forward to the work that you're going to do. I mean, this is part of the opportunity, I guess. When you're talking to candidates, Deandra, what advice do you have, to both align their passions, their interests, their career goals, and finding not just the right program, but the right institution, the personality of the place, how warm and welcoming it's going to be.
Absolutely. All of that, Matt. And you touch me when you say stuff like that because I'm a talker. So I like to dig into all of that with our candidates. One of the first things that I ask them is, what is your passion? And it really goes back to what we talked about a little bit earlier in how is this degree program going to align with not with what you're going to do immediately, but how is it going to support your future, your growth, your advancement? What is that going to do for you? One of my favorite things to do is invite students or potential candidates out to the campus. I always tell them, you must come to campus. You got to shadow a class. You got to kind of really see what the vibe is like because we could look wonderful, but then it's really about personal fit. I tell those individuals you have to do what's going to fit you best. And because, the degree program is an investment of your time, it's an investment of your money, your resources. You want to settle into something that's going to give you the biggest bang for your buck.
Mm.
If you're like me. And so I'm big in digging into passion and taking it slow. The good thing about the Moore School is we're not going to be pushy. We're not going to, as an admissions team, try and pull you along to get you to, join our program. We want you to do what's best. And passion, vibe, support, and how you feel when you get into an environment, I think that sort of seals the deal. So.
Okay. Now, Hannah, if Deandra sent you a text and said, hey, we've got someone coming in tomorrow from Central Europe or from South Asia or from Latin America, anywhere in the world, typical USC more diversity. Could you spend a little bit of time with them? Now, what's a typical day? Where might you then want to take them? A class that you'd love to show them to kind of really reveal both, the style of learning and the sort of things that they're going to be getting into, but a sense of the campus, the culture, the people. What would you organize for their day with you?
So I'm lucky enough that I don't have any early morning classes this semester,
Right.
so that's very nice. But I typically start around 1 p.m. That's when my first class this semester starts. And yeah, we have some good classes to show for sure, because from Python, that's one thing to show that it's not just like us typing into the computer, but the professor is amazing at first showing us what it is and how to actually apply it in some kind of problem which you might deal with later on in life. And then we go into the coding actually. So first explaining and then going into the deep stuff. And so that is amazing. And then of course from CQL or R classes, that it's not just us being on the computer. That's, I would definitely highlight that it's not that kind of story, that we're having a lot of presentations, a lot of discussions. It's very open environment, and to show them that asking a professor is not something like you should hide or something. If you have a question, I don't think there was ever a time as of right now. I've been in the school for it's end of October, so like that I would be scared to raise my hand and like intimidated by the professor. That is, it's highly encouraged to speak to the professor and ask questions, and it's not something to be like ashamed of, that like, oh, I don't know something. If there's, that's why the variety of classes is, if you know every single class and you know every single program we're working with, you, like heads down, like that is amazing. But like that's not the case for most parts. So open and questions, and that just ask the professor for help is definitely something. Yeah.
Okay, so this candidate, Deandra, gets to spend the day with Hannah. It's inspiring. And then in the afternoon, I note the very leisurely start, 1 o'clock sounds altogether reasonable. And towards the end of the afternoon, as you're heading out, you see a banner that talks about an alumni reunion, maybe the class of 2020 or something. Now, if we sat down, Deandra, with 2 or 3 of those alum, and just as they remember their experience at USC more, what sort of things do you think they might share?
Oh man, wow. I think they would share the closeness of the cohort. They truly do come in as individuals who know nothing about each other, and then when they leave, I promise they're like family. They get really, really close. I think they're going to talk about going to 5 points when they had a really long, stressful day where they could hang out and chill and not be looked at as troublesome college students or anything like that, because everywhere that you go in downtown Columbia, it's all about the Gamecocks. I think they're going to remember all of the days they spent in the Global Cafe, grabbing snacks and grabbing drinks in between campus, all the days they spent at the Horseshoe with their pets. A lot of our students bring their pets and their animals. So I think those are the things they would talk about. And they would also talk about the tough professors. We have some. It's a master's program, so every class is not going to be Sunday, but they got through it, and I think that is what they're going to talk about. Just really, not being so confident and then being super confident when they left us, for sure.
Yeah. Hannah, a final thought from you. You mentioned coming from a smaller college program, and what you were actually looking for with the USC experience. Was there anything unexpected, or even almost like the imposter syndrome of, is this going to be the right place for me, the right program? Everybody else seems so smart, and in reality, it's proved to be completely different.
So for me, coming from undergrad, so I didn't take a break. I went straight from undergrad. I was mostly like, what is exactly the cohort going to be like? Like, I know not everyone is coming from undergrad. We're not going to be the same age. Like, everyone has different kind of stories why they go back and get their masters. So that's what I was like, oh, how is it going to be? Like, am I going to be a good fit, or how are we going to communicate? How is this going to all work out? And exactly, like once you come to the classroom, we're all dealing with the same problem, same professor, same class. And it does not matter what age you are, how much experience you had, like we're all in the classroom and we're all dealing with the same problem. We're all coming together, helping each other. And exactly as you mentioned, like after class, we all just text a message being like, grad lounge meeting right now, or are we going out and eating lunch together, getting dinner, like, oh, we need to get together after this hard test. Like it's something, one of those that I was like, oh wow, like how we are together. And yes, of course, might be the tougher times bringing us even more closer together, but how much help and age does not matter, and like helping each other is a big part there. Yeah.
So your words of encouragement. We have viewers at Centre Court from all over the world, perhaps at different stages of studies, career, with everything that you're enjoying. You've taken that step, you've made that personal commitment, and it's proving to be such a great experience. What would you say to encourage others to take that same leap of faith?
So as I mentioned, like I didn't have any coding experience coming into the program. So don't be afraid of that, because this is how the program is situated to guide you. Like, yes, you might want to work a little more at the beginning, but like quickly adopt. Like you're gonna get all the material and everything to get you to the point. Just use it and don't be afraid to ask questions. Yeah.
Okay. Now, clearly, Deandra, we're going to have to put time in the diary to go to 5 points together.
Oh, yes,
But
definitely.
for
Come on,
candidates,
Matt.
who've learned all about the MSBA from this session, and they want to find out more, what are the good next steps? Starting perhaps with a website, just getting in touch with you and your team.
Absolutely. So in order to get in contact with our team, the email, well, of course, you can go out there to our website, but our email is msba@more.sc.edu. Get in contact with us. Let us know what you're looking for. I always tell everyone, no question is a dumb question. No question is too irrelevant. Please ask. schedule a one-on-one with us. Be very clear about if you want to schedule a one-on-one with us. If you want to come for a campus tour, you can find all of those things out there on our website, and we're happy to host.
Great. Well, website, but it's great to know the people, the personalities in the classroom, putting together these wonderful, diverse groups. So, Deandra, Hannah, thank you for joining us at the Center Court. This was a great session.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.